to go live. It's time to go live. It's time to go live. Tuesday. Oh, there we go. It's time to go live. Stop that. Looks like we're live. I'm hearing myself on delay. Hearing myself on delay. Let's see. There we go. All right. Good morning. It is Tuesday, the 4th of March. We March 4th. And we're off to another day. How was my day yesterday? It was not as productive as I'd hoped. I got stuff done. Half of the things on my list I crossed off. But excuse me. But I got a day ahead of me. Lots to do before South by Southwest here in Austin, Texas, which for me officially kicks off tomorrow, right after the stream. I'll do the stream and I'm going to run downtown and go to the convention center for South by Southwest EDU, which is their educational version of the conference, which is a much smaller portion of the conference. But since I am in the educational space, I do like to figure out, keep an eye on what's going on there. Most of EDU is around colleges and K-12, that kind of stuff. And I have taught in colleges. I haven't taught K-12, but I have certainly taught that audience. But not actually in a K-12 organization. So always good to kind of see what's going on. And of course, in education, there is so much tech. So much tech. Well, welcome. This is, again, a Tuesday. We stream Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. Central Standard Time, with the goal of being a hangout while you put your job applications out. If you're in tech and have been recently laid off or trying to break into tech and you're looking for somebody to hang out with first thing in the morning, grab a little caffeinated beverage and getting those job apps out. I want to be your partner in that, your accountability buddy, your hang while you get your job apps out. The hardest part is staying consistent. And if you got an appointment, if you got somebody to hang out with, maybe you can be a little more consistent. That's the goal with this channel. I am streaming on Twitch, on YouTube, and on LinkedIn. If you have not connected with me on LinkedIn, feel free to reach out with me on LinkedIn. Always looking to grow my network of people in tech, whether they are programmers like myself. I've been a programmer for over 30 years, a web programmer for about 30 years. I've seen a lot of change in that time. And last 4 years or so, I've been managing a coding school, helping people learn the trade and get into the industry. This is what led me to create the stream. This be a support network for our students, but it is certainly open to anybody in tech. If you are looking for a job in tech, if you've been looking for a job in tech, feel free to hang out with me and or share it with people who might benefit from it. Before we jump into it today, I do want to hit a little free app that I have created. It's called sxfreesw.com. Little side project I've been working on, and it categorizes and maps out all of the free things going on during South by Southwest, and starting tomorrow and going through March the 15th. So that's 10 days, not tomorrow. Yeah, tomorrow. For 10 days full of free events. I've got about 130 plus in the database right now. I'm adding more every day. I'll probably top out around 170. But it is at sxfreesw.com. And it is a handy little tool for finding cool things going on in Austin during this time that you don't need a badge for. Some of them will give priority to badge owners, but most of them are going to be completely free and not interested in your badge. And it is everything across the board, from real estate and marketing to gaming to female-led technology to startup stuff. It's across the board. I added these filters over the weekend, and they're not quite working right yet, in part because I haven't added all the filters to the data. That part I'm manually adding, and I haven't been able to get all that polished off yet. So I'm focusing on getting more events in there. As soon as I get the events in, I'm going to go do a polish on the filtering. But free tool. Again, if you're in Austin, or if you're coming to Austin for South by Southwest, and you're willing to, you're interested in filling time. Again, even if you've got a badge, not all the best things are happening in the conference area, or maybe you got a downtown where the conference is kind of hasn't got any talks that are as interesting to you. So maybe you want to branch out. Maybe you want to step down the street, a couple of blocks from the convention center, to an event that's going on for free. Feel free to go check that out and share it with your friends. I will be again down at the convention center tomorrow, and most days for the next 10 days I'll be at least down in around the downtown area for some part of the day. I do have a day job that's flexible to a point, but there are work things that I'm going to need to. I can't just take a couple of weeks off with my job and spend it running around the conference, but I will be at a lot of these free events, and if you want to connect, if you want to hook up, reach out to me on the chat or the like, and we'll get to it. Okay, so again, the goal of this is to be a hangout for people looking for jobs in tech. But we're going to be, while we're hanging out, we're going to do a couple of things. One, look at the new job postings. I check those every day. And then check out the tech news and kind of talk about what is going on in the tech world that might affect what our daily gig is, right? So the numbers I have been tracking for over 3 years, almost 3 years. I don't even remember. It's how many days? 945 days I've been tracking this data. So not quite 3 years, but coming up on it. This year, I check these job postings every day. I check JavaScript postings because the web space, certainly the back end can be in a number of different programming languages, but if you have a web application, JavaScript is part of that mix, right? So if you want to get a sense of the trends in the industry, JavaScript is a good place to start. And I've been collecting that data for quite a while, specifically geared around entry-level positions. But I've branched out since the first of the year, and we'll take a look at that in a minute. If we look at the last 7 days, we get a nice trend up. It's not breaking any records. If we look at our last 6 months, we'll see that, again, we're far off the excuse me, 6-month high. Pardon me, swallowed wrong there. We are off of our 6-month high for sure. And everything's been roughly flat since the inauguration, kind of A little up, a little down. Right now we're in the upswing. Like to see those numbers continue. But as we'll talk about in the news today, there are some things going on in the greater world which will probably have some effect on that in the negative, if we were to guess. Hard to um, it's hard to predict these things, get the tea leaves out, um, but there are some headwinds that are larger than the tech sector that will probably be affecting the tech sector some more. And then as we look at the last year, again, um, we're doing better than we were last summer. Not quite as good as we were in the spring. We're hoping to do better as we roll into the spring. Things should be on the upswing. But if you look at the numbers a year ago, we actually are higher right now than we were a year ago at this time. So we'll take the wins wherever we can. I do get those numbers again from Indeed. Those numbers are pulled from and filtered by the last 24 hours, so we can get the latest data of the latest job postings. And I check those every day, including the weekends. I will get up on the weekends when most of the rest of the family are still asleep and check my numbers, get those numbers into the database. And I am, again, on LinkedIn every day, multiple times a day, because that's where often jobs are found. Our headhunters go to find people. So it's a big part of our industry. And I'm constantly helping students kind of get their LinkedIn in better shape. The other thing that they have is a nice little news feed. So there's some news stories in there we can take a look at. Let's look at this first one. U.S. tariffs hit Canada and Mexico. Well, our president promised he was going to put those tariffs in place. And he delayed it for a little bit, but nope. Now they're in place, and the stock market reacted in a negative way. All this stuff makes it more challenging in tech, whether you're in software or hardware. These kind of things will have an effect. If you work for a company that sells goods that are manufactured in part or in whole in Canada and Mexico, it's going to be a little bit more expensive for you to create and or sell and ship your goods to Canada and Mexico, and they're our largest trading partners. So there will be continued washout on this. We'll see what the numbers are like today, and we'll talk about those tomorrow. But when the stock market is challenged, when companies have a hard time selling their goods, when the cost of goods is more expensive, all these things affect budgets, and budgets affect hiring, and hiring affects layoffs. Not only did our tariffs hit yesterday, but Canada and Mexico both announced that they were going to be doing retaliatory strikes and tariffs to us. So I think that's this story here. Yep. Retaliatory tariffs sparked a trade war. I did see that Canada is being smart about their tariffs, in the sense that they're definitely doing some across the board tariffs, but they're also doing some targeted tariffs. They're doing a 100% tariff on Teslas, which might have an undue effect, an overdue effect on Elon Musk's fortune. And he's got some sway with the president. Maybe they're trying to influence the president through hitting his number one advisor where it hurts. Again, time will tell with the bailout there, but in general, the business community, which is intertwined with the tech community, is uncomfortable and nervous about this idea of tariffs. They didn't like it when he was talking about it on the campaign trail. They didn't want to believe that he was going to follow through. But here we are. What else is going on? California Governor Gavin Newsom signed an executive order Monday requiring state workers return to office for 4 days a week. The mandate, which is expected to take effect July 1st, will impact roughly 95,000 employers who are currently required to work at the office at least 2 days per week. The state currently employs more than 220,000 full-time workers, of which 60% report to work in person daily. In-person work makes us all stronger, period, Newsom said. We've said a lot over the last couple of months about return to office orders on this chat. We will continue to talk about it. There will be friction between employers and employees. But if the job market stalls because of these headwinds that we have in the economy, and jobs are tougher to come by, we've already seen in the last couple of weeks some stories about people less likely to switch jobs, people hunkered down and making do with their current job just because they know it's a little more difficult to find a job now than at other times. So, something to consider. In the latest sign, investors' appetite for artificial intelligence startups seemingly can't be satiated. Anthropic has raised $3.5 billion at a $65 billion valuation. The Amazon-backed mega startup is behind the popular chatbot Claude. The funding, which Anthropic confirmed Monday, gives it the resources to compete with OpenAI, which is currently raising money at a $300 billion valuation. $300 billion. These numbers are just silly. What does that even mean? What does that mean? At $20 a month, how long is it going to take to pay back 10x $300 billion? What you going to do? And I use Anthropic's Claude 3.7 model every day when I'm writing code. I don't use their web app nearly as much as I used to. I went through a period where I was frustrated with the UI of OpenAI, and I was using Claude a fair amount. But almost all of these, I'm going to say all of these AI, web-based AI tools have just really lousy UI. There are a couple of features here and there that I like, but by and large, they're pretty clunky interfaces. And so if I just need a chat, I probably used ChatGPT twice yesterday, maybe 3 times yesterday. But I used the 3.7 model. I probably spent 3 hours yesterday coding. and I leaned heavily on that 3.7 model for sure. And although I've sort of toyed with other models, that's the one that tends to turn out the best code right for me right now. At least the kind of code I'm writing. Every once in a while it hits a blocker, and I'll try another model, but most of those models don't solve the problem, so I'm sticking with what I know for now. Okay, let's look at what's going on in Google News in the technology space. Nothing smartphone. Nothing is the name of the company. Has been interesting, but they go to all this trouble to make this funky design, and they've got all these lights on it and stuff. And it always surprises me when companies do that, because they know that people are going to put their phones inside of phone cases. I know. I mean, I suppose there are some psychopaths that go around without a phone case, but I mean, that's just dumb. That's dumb. I don't need to spend a whole lot of time on my industrial design of the phone, because it's all going inside of a phone case. And all I'm seeing on my phone is the screen. Doesn't make any sense to me. Tim Apple teases new product this week. MacBook Air. I have not played at all with any of that MacBook Airs. I've been a MacBook Pro user for the last 10 years plus, maybe 14 years, 15 years. But these days I don't even use my laptop very much. I'm mainly on my desktop working out of my home office. Occasionally I will go to a co-working space. But even then I tend to bring my PC, which is a little newer. It's got a little more power on it. I bought the PC laptop specifically so I could run local models, and I thought I might be doing some of that. Turns out I'm not. Not really messing around with the local models anymore. I played with it. I tested it. I got a sense of it. But I don't really need it in my day-to-day. Curiously, the iPhone 16 gets so close to supporting MagSafe. Official Galaxy Tab. I'm not using. I found an Android Amazon tablet. I was going through some stuff, and I don't even know if this thing works anymore. I have to plug it in, but I don't even have any of the handy. I don't have any of the chargers lying around. I'll plug that in, see if it still works. Don't know the last time I booted that thing up. NVIDIA GeForce 5070 review. Definitely not a $549 4090. Okay. I'd hate the 5070 if it didn't have DLSS4. Man, I am not that much of a nerd. In the 90s, I was building my own computers and doing that kind of stuff. I don't have any time for that nonsense anymore. I heard one of the YouTubers I follow, said that they were building their own computer, and I was like, what? Okay. All right. Rare deal alert. New iPad mini is $399. Its lowest price. My wife uses an iPad most of the days. She watches stuff when she works out. She will surf the web when she's sitting on the couch with the TV. But I just really haven't had a way to, like, most of the stuff I want to do on a computer is I can either do through my phone or I need a keyboard with it. And so, you know, like I had an hour on the couch before I came in here, and I had my laptop on my lap, and I was, exporting a Google Sheets thing that I was moving on, and I did a push out to GitHub, just taking care of a little business. um, but I don't know. I just haven't found a way to make an iPad or a tablet work for me. HMD collaborates with Drew Barrymore and unveils Fusion X1 phone for teens. Phone for teens. I have a teen. Who's 18. The earbuds can top off your phone's battery. Interesting. Not sure what that's all about. Mozilla. Oh yeah, that's just a cluster there. Monster Hunter Wild sells 8 million units in 3 days. 8 million units. I had never heard of Monster Hunter before maybe 6 months ago. My kids decided that was the thing all their friends were playing. And my son and my daughter, both heavy game players, but in a lot of ways, there's some crossover in the Venn diagram of the games they play, but not a lot, in the sense that my son definitely is a little bit more PC gamey. My daughter's more Switch gamey. And as a result, they don't play together as much. I mean, in part because my daughter's away at college right now, but but Monster Hunter Wilds brought them together. They were both playing that on breaks during the Christmas break. A lot of talk about that in my household. Haven't played it myself. Have yet to play it myself. Not my kind of game. Lenovo. I've said this before, and I'll say it again. I just like the creativity at Lenovo. They really like to experiment with form factors. I wouldn't say that they found a huge winner, but they've found some really interesting niches. And I like to see that. So much of the rest of the tech space is boring. I mean, I got this new Dell laptop in the fall. There's nothing that distinguishes it from any other laptop I've had, a PC laptop I've had, in the last 10 years. Same thing is true with my MacBooks. Other than that dumb bar that was on there, like, there has not been really much in the way of innovation in the space. Samsung's pushing out the headsets. Meta released more information about their new headset coming out. They don't want to let that one go. They really think that day's going to come at some point. I don't know. I'm dubious. I am dubious. There are so many places where we go, the bank, just a lot of places where we go that we're in line behind somebody where they're punching in their PIN number when they're checking out or whatever. And if I had a pair of glasses that had a camera in them that was recording 24/7, it would not be hard to even manually just go and review the footage and watch people punch in their PIN number. Whereas when we're all just wandering around, generally speaking, it's rude to stare at somebody when they're punching their PIN number, and we wouldn't consider ourselves to do that. But if you had a camera that had a wide field of view and you were kind of looking in the regular direction and it was recording, you could that is just a security nightmare, much less not being laid on the gambling floor at a casino or inside of a bank. Or there's just so many places where a 24/7 camera should would not be accepted, and that just feels like a huge hurdle for that industry to get over. Like, I don't understand I see the value but I also see the potential for abuse, and that potential for the abuse far outweighs the individual. I don't know. It doesn't make any sense to me. I don't see how that's going to work. Especially because, like, when I go to get, I've never been a glasses wearer, but when I turned 45, going into 50, I started to change. It's time to, maybe think about some sort of glasses with my yearly checkups at the eye doctor. And when I went in the last year, they're hawking the Meta Ray-Ban glasses, and they'll happily put in custom lenses. So you pay the $300 or whatever it is for the thing, and you pay a little extra money, and they'll give you the custom lenses in there. But now you've got a camera in this thing that also is what you use to see with. And if you go to a place and they don't let you put cameras in there, you take it off, now you can't see anything. So now you got to carry on a second pair of glasses, switch them out when you go into this place, or not that place, but this place, and that doesn't, I don't know. I do not know about that. It feels like there's a lot of friction to how and when, why you'd use these things. I backed one of those 24/7 recording devices that record audio, and that's supposed to be coming out this year at some point. And I'll use that every day, all day, in my home office. But even in some states, having that on, like California, for instance, would be illegal unless everybody you had an interaction with, you told them, hey, I'm recording 24/7. Texas is not like that. If one person in a conversation is aware of the recording device, it's perfectly legal. They don't have to inform the other people, and it is not against the law in Texas for that. And that's true in a number of different states, but not all the states. Again, if I go to California and I've got some of these glasses on and they're recording audio and they're recording video, that's wiretapping laws that you're breaking. Because you can't tell everybody on the street. I mean, the streets may be a little different, but you can't, ask everybody in the 7-Eleven or in the DMV, hey, I'm recording, is that cool? That's not practical. So all this stuff's going to be challenged with lawsuits. Amazon has a slew of AI devices coming. Amazon has been, their phone aside, the Amazon phone aside, they've been pretty decent with their devices. I don't own a lot of them. This is, again, an Amazon tablet that I think I got free when I signed up for some account or something. I don't know. But they have been pretty good about their technology, hardware. Um, Again, we don't have an Alexa in our house, but I know a lot of people that do. Uh, so, I would take that seriously. The all new Alexa Plus. But again, no, I don't need a recording device in my house. Is really just designed to be on 24/7, listening to me, waiting for me to say something. Da, da, da. Prepare to take off for GTA Online. Never played any of the GTA games. What else have we got? Hackers use click, fix, trick to deploy PowerShell-based Havoc C2 via SharePoint size. Phishing campaign uses Havoc framework to control infected systems. Rockstar Games announces acquisition of dev behind GTA Trilogy upgrades. Interesting. uBlock, I don't use uBlock, and a handful of other popular Google Chrome extensions have been axed overnight, but some of them just require turning them off and on again. I use the Brave browser, which got some of that ad blocker stuff built in, which is kind of a pain from time to time. But generally speaking, I've not been a big fan of ad blockers. For a couple of different reasons, but yeah. But that's interesting. Samsung's $499 A56 looks sharp. Activision AI slop Guitar Hero advert makes market research for a fake game that doesn't exist. Activision gets criticized for using ad visuals in the mobile game ads. I didn't see that yesterday, but get used to AI video. That is not going to be slowing down. Just going to be more and more of that. Crash Bandicoot Brawl. I don't know. I don't know. I'm definitely torn when it comes to this AI stuff. I use it all the time. I use it for projects that I work on that are mostly free, that aren't going to generate any money. So, I would never have hired an artist for that anyway. So I don't have any problem with that. When you get into a situation where, yeah, your goal is to make money, and it's likely you'll make money, and you make money from a whole lot of other products. I also don't have a problem, doing empowering a bunch of employees to use AI to generate prototypes or mock-ups and those kind of things. But once you sort of figure something out, I was listening to, I was watching this documentary this weekend on John Williams, the composer, and I don't think very much at all about soundtracks for movies. I'm in the minority in my household. Everybody in my house has learned to play a musical instrument in their life, but me, and they are very aware of soundtracks in movies. I've never been that guy. Like, unless it's John Williams with themes that are kind of right in your face all the time, I don't even hear it. Like, I do generally get into movies, especially good ones, and I'm just not very aware of what the music is going on in the background. But one thing that was interesting was they were talking about how they were interviewing other composers for film stuff, and one of the things that was said was that the music comes last or late in the process, and when a filmmaker and editor are cutting the movie, they use temp tracks, which is something I've known for a long time. But what they said was, as soon as a director starts cutting to an existing piece of music from some other movie that kind of gets the feel and the motion of what they're trying to evoke, oftentimes the person said they really fall in love with that soundtrack that they've been cutting to. Again, it's, they'll pull from some of the best soundtracks ever made, and they'll layer it in, and they're like, oh, this fits perfectly, this is amazing, this is a timeless piece of music. And then when it's time to work with a composer, they say, make it kind of like this, only different. So then now you put all these constraints on the composer. Generally the composer, any artist, is on some part of the continuum, from like pure artist to, who says, I'm going to make a thing and you're going to like it or you're not, all the way to a designer end of the artistic spectrum, where they're like, I get paid to do a thing, I'll do what the person who's paying me asks me to do. It's just a contract job. I'll be as creative as I can be within the constraints of that thing. But at the end of the day, I serve at the pleasure of the, in this case, director of the film, right? So if he says, or she says, I want that thing that sounds like this thing that I've been editing to, and it really works within my thing. And if you come up with something new, then I have to completely change the editing or the mood or whatever. If that's the case, it's more challenging. So that was kind of interesting to kind of think about it in those terms. Was as soon as the director starts making some decisions, creative decisions, that really constrains the artist, the composer, the arranger, and affects the outcome. Certainly true when we start playing around with these AI tools, right? Already we're seeing people using generative AI, both art and music and temp, line readings and stuff, as placeholders. And then if you're lucky enough, if you happen to hit it right, if the image is just right, maybe it's better than something you could have come up with on your own, working with an artist. Over time, that's going to be the case. I mean, with all these AI models, of course, the key is how do you communicate with the AI? What are the words that you say? What is the prompt? What analogies do you use to evoke? What phrases and keywords do you use to prompt it for the thing that you want? Okay. I did not see the story yesterday. Okay. This is late stage capitalism where there are people with too much money. I mean, generally when these kind of stories drop, they happen on eBay. And oftentimes the follow-up story is like, oh, that was, not a legitimate bid. Golden Auction sold out. The relic is a 3-inch flaming hot Cheeto that is shaped similarly to Charizard, the original and most popular of the Pokemon franchise. Final sale. Because on eBay, like, anybody can just create an account and put, $1 million bid in for something. And then it makes the headline. Looks like this is not that. So this is... this is somebody who is ballsy and somebody who has too much money. Too much money. That is ridiculous. The world we live in. For every lunatic that's out there, there's somebody else with more money than sense. This week in Pokemon Go. My kids and I started Pokemon Go in 2016, and we were playing it daily for a long time. Then my son fell out. He wasn't excited about it anymore. My daughter and I kept going for quite a while. Then she fell out. Then I was the only one hanging out, holding down the Pokemon Go addiction. And then last year in the fall, I was like, I don't know why I'm still doing this. I spend all this time on my phone. I touch it when I'm in the car driving around, which is not safe. So I'm like, you know what? I'm done. I'm deleting it off my phone. And 2 months later, then my daughter starts getting back into it again. But I haven't reinstalled it. But I literally played it for 7-8 years. I've never played any of the Tony Hawk games. I love watching skater videos on YouTube, but never was a skateboarder myself. And never really cared for the games. Didn't really do it for me. Mercedes-Benz EV. The new Roku TV bug makes watching your antenna almost impossible. Okay. How are we doing on time? 10 minutes. Okay. Xbox Game Pass will lose at least 8 games in early March. I haven't paid for Xbox Game Pass in a long time. I did when my kids were small. Let's see. The crossword. Think again. Themeless detective crossword. Samsung makes new $276 offer. just want a good phone camera. That's really what I want. Ooh, Zachtronics has got a new game out. I do like me some Zachtronics. New puzzler set in the 1980s Tokyo. Okay. Deconstruct and design 80s electronics in puzzle automation game Kaizen. I am a big fan of Zachtronics. Wasted too many hours on Zachtronics. Researchers hack Bluetooth devices. They can be trackable on Apple's Find My Phone. It just quietly released a new storage solution, and it's ideal for tiny spaces. One of the things I'm going to be doing during spring break is cleaning out the garage, so I'm looking for organizational options. Driver paid more than $100,000 for BMW. Let it go for $18,000. I suppose that's a headline. 31 interesting as hell old school things most people into. Listicles. I, like everybody else, love a listicle. Google makes it easier to remove your personal information from search. They're just trying to kill their business. First AI, now they're giving the okay for people to remove data from their database. Doesn't make any sense to me. I don't understand it. We're doing emails, okay. Charizard, Kaizen, what is this all about? That's fun. I will definitely be watching that trailer in a few minutes as soon as the stream is over with. Let's see, modular, organizational, things on wheels are always good. Love things on wheels. Taking up minimal space, and it's just $49. That's a small price to pay to literally double your storage. You know, the wheel stuff is great, unless you got area rugs and carpeting. Doesn't work as well. But fortunately, my house, certainly the whole bottom floor of my house, is hard floors. And my office is all hard floors. And the garage is all hard floors, so that makes sense. That might work. What else did we see yesterday? Let's see. More listicles. Okay. 6 ways AI agents can help you accomplish your work in minutes. I played with one of those agentic tools, Mind Studio, on Friday. Couldn't quite figure it out. Still have a lot to play with it. Wanted to do some scraping with it. And could not get it to work. I'm sure it's all user error, but it was not as intuitive as I would have liked. All right, we're getting down to the end of it. Last 5 minutes. I want to take the time to remind you why we're doing this. If you've shown up late to the stream, my name is Keith. I am a professional developer. I have been a web programmer for just about 30 years, and for a few years before that, just a regular application developer, CD-ROM developer. And I created the stream, which streams from Monday through Friday, 8 to 9 a.m. Central Standard Time from Austin, Texas. I created the stream as a place for you to hang out while you're getting out job applications if you're in the job search, if you are working in tech and you've been laid off or trying to break into tech and you're looking for your first job. The goal of anybody is just be consistent, really. So many things you can't control in that process, but one thing you can control is getting the latest job postings, getting those job applications out every day, being consistent about it. And so that's the goal of the stream, is to kind of help people out by having a place where they can kind of check in, listen to somebody talk about what's going on in tech and the larger job world. And that's the goal of this program. We are in Austin, Texas, rolling into South by Southwest territory for the next 10 days, starting tomorrow. A bunch of strangers are going to be flying into our town. Hotels are going to be filled. Highways are going to be wall to wall, more than usual. Ubers are going to be harder to get your hands on. Airbnbs are going to be full. And the downtown area is going to be a mess. But I'm going to be there. Program note. Not sure how this affects. It really kicks off next week. There'll be some startup stuff, some beginning stuff happening tomorrow through Friday. But it will start in earnest next Monday. Not sure what I'm going to do about the stream yet. Depends on if I find any kind of early morning stuff. I may either postpone it or put it off, cancel it for the day. We'll just have to kind of wing it. I'm just going to be looking at my schedule. Speaking of schedules, how are you finding things to do during South by Southwest? I created a little side project called SXFREESW.com, SXFREESW.com, and it is an app that is free and easy to use, asks for no personal information, but will allow you to find all of the free things going on during South by Southwest. Some affiliated, most not affiliated with South by Southwest, like this app, not affiliated with South by Southwest, and really focuses on the non-badge holder events. But I've got them all mapped out here, so if you're downtown, if you're in a hotel downtown, you got some downtime between events, you can poke around on here and check out all the things going on in our town. I got some filters in there. You can filter by day of the week, by a bunch of keywords. Keyword filtering is not quite ironed out yet. Still a few bugs in there, but I'm working on that. I've got over 140 events in there right now, and I've got another, 30 or 40 to add in the next day or two. Hopefully today, we'll see. So there we are. If you know anybody who is in town, South by Southwest, and is looking for ways to get out there and press the flesh, meet a bunch of people, network, learn about what's going on in the wider tech world, in the local tech world. Lots of really cool events here. All of them are free, but many of them are first come, first serve RSVP, so they will be filling up as we get closer to next week. So it'd be good for you to jump on there right now and start signing up for things. So SXFREESW.com is the URL, and again, there'll be more and more events added to there in the next 2 days, but also a little more UI polish. It's good for a little weekend project, but there's definitely a list of things that I want to kind of improve in the process. So check that out. All right, guys, we did it. We came to the end of our hour here, and we will be back in 23 hours to pick it up where we left off. Learn a little bit more about what's going on in tech and in the job market. Okay, guys,